All right. We are back again with On the Money Podcast. Fellas, how y'all feeling?
Great, man.
Good, man.
Great.
Always good.
Amazing.
Well, everybody, it's your boy Chris Fish. I am here with my two co-hosts. I got my big brother, got Harris with me over there. How
Yes,
you doing,
sir.
Harris? You good?
Hey, I'm feeling awesome, baby.
Good. Got my other co-host, Bethel Johnson. What you feeling like over there, man?
Hey,
You
man,
good?
I'm good.
Good.
Feeling
Bethel,
great.
tell us who our special guest who we got with us today.
Yes, sir.
Man, I got my son with me, man.
Oh man.
He just came back from camp.
Okay.
Little Bethel,
Okay.
the third. Tell the people about you, man. Give people a little insight on you, man. What are you doing? What do you have going on?
I play soccer
Mm-hmm.
for BVB,
Mm-hmm.
and well, I just came from the BVB camp
Mm-hmm.
just a moment ago. I did win a couple of awards.
Oh, tell us about some of the
Bree,
awards, baby.
go
Bree
ahead.
winning some awards,
give it to
man.
us, give it
Let
to
us
us.
know.
So I won this. It's called the Flame Award.
Mm.
So, like, it's the team. They vote on one person
Mm.
on the team. They write it on a piece of paper who they think is like who brung the team higher.
Who elevated you
Yeah,
guys.
elevated the team.
right?
Yeah.
And yes, and the responsible person always.
All
So-
the intangibles, the leadership, and all that. Mhm.
Yeah.
So I got voted for that award, and then we sweep once we're done, and then we
Okay.
get these chips,
Okay.
and whoever has the most, they count them all up, and then they get this big trophy.
Mm.
Okay.
What was that trophy called?
It was called the Echteliebe Cup.
What is
okay.
Echteliebe
Echteliebe in Germany.
in German?
In German, it means real love,
Mm.
and it's the camp name, and we won that cup with all the chips that we got and we
Wow.
earned. So
Yeah.
Man, that's
really
amazing.
good.
Man. So
So-
you over there training a young leader and
man.
bringing everybody up. That's greatness right there.
Yeah, we want to celebrate that, man. I know we was talking off
Mhm.
air. We was
Yeah.
talking about how in our community we got to learn to celebrate our children
Right.
more,
Right.
because that would give that. You know what that would do for them as they get in front of people and they perform. It'd give them confidence always
Yeah.
in front of people versus trying to play down their greatness,
Right.
Right.
Because they hear us play it down,
Right.
right?
I believe it frees our children up to be the best version of themselves.
Absolutely.
Right.
Right? They don't feel like they have to conform to someone else's vision of them because the affirmation has already been poured in them. Well, you know what? I already know who I am. I just want to be better at whatever it is I want to do.
Right.
Right.
So that's the thing, man. I want to, he's my son, so I'm gonna do what I got to do.
Already.
Yeah.
for him. What is your goal? What is your big goal?
my big goal is to become a professional soccer player,
Mm-hmm.
and it really doesn't matter. But if I wanted to choose, I'd probably want to play for Real Madrid someday.
Oh, he
Okay.
got the team too.
Let's put it
Okay.
out there.
Put it out
You know
there,
what I'm saying?
man. Put
Throw,
that
throw
in
it out there in the
universe.
atmosphere.
So let
Is
me
that what
ask
you
you
want?
this: what are you doing today to make sure that you get to that dream, that big goal?
Good question.
Working hard, and so that way I could get to that level, because that's the only way I could get there. So when I go perform out on a game, like, I always think there's somebody out there watching me.
Okay.
So I got to play hard. And I did that one game, and then it was actually someone watching me. So
Mm.
they recruited me to their team. So that's who I'm playing for now.
Oh man, that's amazing. That's amazing. So you actually, how do you feel about hearing that, Dad? After working with him, I know some of the hours are countless when it comes to
Yeah.
And hope and put in perspective, this is someone who actually knows what it takes to get to the ultimate level, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
This is someone who's actually put in the time individually, physically, mentally to ascend to the highest level,
Mhm.
right? And not only just make it there, but be the best of the best. And not just because he says it, but because his peers, the league, the attributes are not given, right? He earned them. So from that perspective, right, because I want to make sure we have some context to this.
Right.
This is not just, because we all, we all have children.
Right.
We're biased.
Right.
But your perspective is a little bit different.
Mhm.
From someone who is, multi Super Bowl champ, Pro Bowl, someone who actually knows what it takes to get to the ultimate level. How do you feel to hear your namesake, you know what I'm saying, have his head on straight?
I mean, it just lets me know that, you know, as a father, I'm on the right track with him.
Bet that.
You know, like I said, I didn't have any blueprint to this or any guidance from even from my pop. So for me, being able to just work with him and give him the tools, equip him with things he needs. You know, for me, that's I mean, I'm a proud dad, you know, when it comes to that.
You should be.
When I see the work come to fruition, because we do put in work, we build all kinds of stuff for him. Like we build passing contraptions and things like that. You know, for him, but we just do what we have to do because, like you said, once he had told me that he wanted to go pro, I was like, okay, I got you. I know I might not know soccer, but I do know what it takes to make it to pro.
Now, one of the things that I admire a lot about you, Bethel, that continues to challenge me is how much you put on for your family. Like the very first thing, the first time we met, you told me I'm serious about my kids. Right. And you said, I don't care what else is going on. I'm going to make sure that I'm taking care of my kids and I'm there for my kids. And so, the biggest thing is some people put on and say those type of things, but you know, for us being around each other for the amount of years that we've been around, the consistency that you've shown and the hard work that you've shown and put in, it's there. You know, sometimes I know how it is that we in the day-to-day of doing things that it's hard to see the actual fruits of those things happening in that day-to-day. But I could tell you,
which is why we have to celebrate them for that reason alone, because we put a lot of time and energy into other areas. And a lot of times, you know, we look back and say, man, I wish I would have. But with our children and our family, that won't be the case.
Exactly.
It can't be the case, right?
And I appreciate that, bro. Like, you know, you saying that. And like even with you guys, like, I don't hang around guys that are not there for their family.
Right.
I don't roll with cats that are not serious about their family. Like none of the guys I deal with or anybody that's in my circle, everybody, they're big on family. And it's important to them. These are our tribes that we birthed. We are responsible for this tribe that we produced. So for me, it's like, you know, you got to have pride in certain things. And this is one of the things that you should be prideful in, is taking care of your family.
So with that being said, I think it's an excellent segue to what we want to really get into today, because we've said the word several times already, which is celebrating, right? So in our last episode we did Celebrating the Crumbs, and because of how well that was going over, we know that there was so much that we needed to talk to and get to part 2 of that.
This is not a crumb celebration.
So this is not a crumb celebration.
Just to be clear.
We're not saying that.
Not a crumb celebration. This is a celebration of.
But I think to that point is the reason why. Part of the reason why we get into Celebrating the Crumbs is because we're not used to being celebrated or celebrated.
Absolutely.
And so we can get into this habit of celebrating crumbs or the less than, because that's what our personal view has been on
the reason why it's not a crumb is because we're value setting. Right. Because you see, the thing that we the shiny thing is never really the thing. That's what we say internally in our meetings, right? The thing is never really the thing. If we don't identify what the crumb is and isn't, right, we will allow someone else to do it, right? So you know what? He only went to jail one time. That's the crumbs, right? We have to normalize our children, our communities, our families doing things that they should do, right? And the things that they shouldn't do is really up to you as an individual to, you know, make a judgment on that. I don't have a heaven hell to put anybody in, so I'm from the mindset, hey, I can only focus on me and do me. If you're doing something and, you know, it's working for you, I applaud you. If you're not, then guess what? There are opportunities to do something different. But in this setting, in this day, right, it is extremely important that we normalize excellence, because we are the key, right? One of the first conversations me and you had, me and you, Bethel, was like, hey, we are the key, right? And like, I believe that we have all we need, which is directly coming from you, right? Mine is beginning with the end in mind. That's that Voltron mindset. Our children, our family, our community. That's kind of the reason why we're doing what we're doing, right? That selfless service mindset. And if we can give that to our children, then we're doing what we should be doing.
Right. So Bethel, you had said something in the first part 1 as far as celebrating the crumbs with the image. Can you reset that again? Because I think that was a very powerful imagery. That we can go off of, because I feel like we gonna really dive in deeper. That's why I wore my FAMU hat today. So
man, that's trash.
Get up he's always
we
about to go.
Cool, man.
Oh man, because we talking about excellence, right?
Oh, so I said, my sex A&M, man, I wish I would.
Excellence with caring is what it's all about. But yeah, give us that imagery that you had.
It's an image that I've been trying to find. I've really been trying to search for this image. I think I'm, convoluting them. But the image I have in my head, I see, a bunch of fat white guys sitting around the table feasting. And then I can see dogs around the table. Mm-hmm. You can replace the dogs with people.
Right.
You can just say that. Because in the political satire cartoons from New Yorker, that's all in there.
Right.
But you can go and just imagine the dogs sitting there waiting for crumbs or something, some scraps to fall off the table so they can get that tiny morsel and to be satisfied, right? So to me, that's what I see when it comes to celebrating the crumbs. We're sitting, waiting on something to fall off, and when it does, we celebrate like, I got this, I got this morsel, guys. I got this morsel. You get so happy about the small things, even though the feast is on the table.
Right.
Everything what you want is on the table, but you will settle for the crumbs that fall off. So that's what I see when we talk about celebrating the crumbs. That's what I see: a bunch of fat white dudes in suits and just sitting around, just having a feast.
Right.
And dogs sitting around waiting on crumbs.
You know what's cool about that visual? The first time, and even now, in my mind's eye, I see a circular table, and I see, the structure is set on top of the workers, right? So I think about like supply chain, right? And then I also think about the proximity to where the individuals that are calling the shots are to the people that are receiving whatever they, will be giving you, right?
Right.
In actuality, if we just reach up, right?
Man.
If we just reach up, and that reaching up is a physical thing, right? Because sometimes you have to pull yourself up, right? And only you can do that, being self-aware. Then also maybe it's a mindset, like, you know what? Why do I feel like I'm only valuable enough to get a crumb? What is it about me that I don't value, right? And we probably should start there. Like,
Harris.
In order for you to celebrate the crumbs, you even have to know what a crumb is.
Right.
And isn't.
There you go.
With you saying that part, bro, let me tell you what hit me that when I knew I was like looking at a crumb.
Come give it to me.
Man, bro. So my first corporate job out of college. Now because I graduated during that time frame when the economy was down. It took a little bit to get a real corporate job with my degree, but my first corporate
grad school.
Out of grad school.
Let's be clear.
You know what I'm saying? To be clear, when I finished grad school with my MBA, it was during that 2008 2009 time frame, and we all know what that looked like, right? But then I finally was able to land something.
Me of that time.
Oh Lord.
God.
But in 2010, I had a corporate job as an account manager with a very large third-party logistics firm, and they're the largest one in the States at that time.
Right.
And they gave me a book of business when I was working there, and I had that when it started out, the book of business was worth $3 million. Over the course of 1 year, I grew that book of business from $3 million up to $11 million.
Not even a fiscal year. You're talking about a calendar year.
A calendar year.
So that's important to know in business.
Because even though they were a third-party logistics firm, one of the things that they compete themselves on is technology. So they had their own software to be able to pull out all these different reports and all that kind of stuff. Most of the account managers, they just didn't even care about playing with those, reports. I'm sitting over there every day with pulling different reports, looking at the analytics, like, okay, well, if I do da. And I didn't realize that, working there, it was very much like working for, if you were on the trading floor for a stock market company, you got these multiple screens, and you're having to make sure you're working with truck drivers to sell all the stuff, and it's going crazy. But when I did the 3 million and to 11 million, I didn't even get a bonus for growing that money to that amount. Not only did I not get a bonus, bro, let me tell you how much that. See, at that time, I'm newly married, I need to make sure I'm supplying for my family, doing something. So I took the job, right? You know, because I got to.
Right.
I took it, and I was making around $40,000 a year,
Right.
handling multi-million dollars worth of a business.
Right.
So you mean to tell me you making $40,000
$40,000
and they put multi-millions in your hand?
in my, and that was just in my hand. That wasn't even the whole office.
Yeah.
That was just in my hand.
Let's clarify that. 40 before taxes.
Yeah.
Before taxes.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Right. Let's be clear about this.
Very,
So you bringing in about 30,
32.
32, 33.
32, 36.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. And so I'm looking at the numbers. See, now again, analytics.
Right.
I didn't let the wrong one to look at the analytics of this stuff.
Right.
So I'm sitting there doing the analytics, and I start computing, and I said, I see you in the analytics. We could see what the entire office is doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the way they had it structured was that my bonus was tied to whether or not the entire office did what they were supposed to do.
sucks.
So because I busted my behind every day and did what I did and grew the book of business, and I looked and I'm like, whoa, I'm not getting a bonus because, you know, this cat over here ain't doing what he's supposed to be doing. And I'm calculating, and I said, I grew it to this. I'm making less than 0.5% of the money that's coming in.
What?
Less than 0.5% when you do the calculations.
Wow.
Are you telling me you didn't wake up and say, how can I make more money for my boss?
Oh Lord, no.
and I hope they give me
Give me some of it. Give me some of it. Well, listen, I made more money for my boss, and I still didn't get none of it.
Facts.
Wow.
Facts.
That's I mean, there's no way that I could sit. So I was the wrong one to look at that, and you know, trying to work there, I continued to work, but my performance got, you know,
Yeah.
little dirty.
It was
you know.
impacted.
It was just impacted.
Yeah,
When I
it was-
started
it-
looking at it, I'm
it
just
was-
like,
The KPIs, the
Why
key
am I
performance
going so
indicators in
hard?
that.
Like,
why am I going hard?
When everybody else is not going
They're
hard.
not going hard. What am I going to go hard for? Then I'm gonna, and see, you know, I had to learn my lesson, because then I'm gonna tell you how I really feel and what I'm really thinking, and they just like, what's going on? And you know what? I may show up today. You lucky if I show up. Right. So you know, your boy, you know, he ended up getting fired off of that job, you know, because of performance. But at the end of the day, I learned. I was sitting there looking at, okay, this is what a crumb really looks
But
like.
most people be satisfied with that. Most
Yes.
people look at that as well. I'm making $40,000. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
In a down market, I'm
In a
making
down-
$40,000.
Yeah.
I'm making $40,000 in a down market. So, hey, as long as I got me a job,
Yeah.
that to me, right? That
Yeah.
produces the crumb mentality. As long as I got a job, that's why we had the conversation. We talked about Stephen A. Smith on the last episode.
So yeah.
So when we talked about him, that's the mentality of, oh, I got a job, so I'm gonna do what I gotta do to protect the job.
Right.
Yeah. These are no exit strategy. Like there's no exit strategy to to what he has going on with ESPN. If you think about it,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's
yeah.
no exit strategy. He
Well,
hoping
see, I
to not get fired.
I didn't have an exit strategy either, but they made one for me.
Yeah.
Really.
They exited you out. They will do that.
I definitely can relate to that mindset, because this is the thing. I'm not even knocking, you know, someone saying they're making $40,000, right? Because we all have to have a starting point.
Right.
My biggest issue and concern is, now what, right? If you feel like that's it, then, you know, I don't want to bust your bubble, but life is gonna come to everybody. Once again, the one thing the pandemic exposed was tomorrow is not promised, and if you don't start investing in you, no one will.
Absolutely.
Right. So, you know, my experience is different. You know, I haven't made my way up the corporate ladder, but I realized I was a young exec in a huge financial institution. I won't say the name because it's a government entity, and I saved the company $3 million the first 6 months. And I was able to renegotiate grandfathered contracts. So if you know anything about contracts, those terms that are grandfathered in don't have anything to do with the projecting numbers. It's based on the relationships of the past.
Right.
I was able to renegotiate those grandfathered contracts because it didn't make any sense for that entity to spend that amount of money based on the information that they were getting. I did receive a plaque. And I'm going to be honest, I was excited about that.
It was celebrated, was it not?
Until it was time for a promotion. right? And they said, you know what, you did a good job on that, but can you do it again? Let's talk about compensation. Well, right now there were so many different reasons why they did not want you to do what I felt like they should have. It let me know, like, look, I would never be valued in this system. Now, it took me years to get out that system, that structure, but something inside of me woke up like, Chris, you're too smart to be stupid, right? You have to figure out a way, and I never forget being my wife. Being married to an entrepreneur can be difficult because even though I'm at someone's job, I'm not really there.
I'm not. I'm planning. I'm strategizing.
I am trying to figure out a way how to get out. I'm trying to learn everything. I'm trying to learn things that don't even have anything to do with my job. Right. I want all the sauce and the tea because I know me. I'm a disruptor. I'm going to take what you have, and I'm going to repackage it and make it better because that's the way I process.
Yeah, that's what got me fired because I told him, I said, listen, I'm here just trying to learn. That's it.
Yeah.
We're not here to pay you just to learn, sir. So
okay,
there's the door, brother. There's the door. But see, but that's the thing though, like, because I remember when I was at Fidelity, I said I won't go ever give them props. They don't have any props to give. I'm not giving them any props. But when I was at Fidelity, I saw that same, what you're talking about. I saw the same mentality. My mentality going into any job. My wife would tell you, my record at jobs are 2 years.
Right.
2 years.
Yeah.
My wife would tell you, I give myself 2 years to learn what I need to learn and get out of there.
Right.
So every job I enter into, I have an exit strategy. And my deal is, what resources am I taking from this job that I can bring back to my people and serve them with these resources, right? So every job I got into was to gather some type of resources and learn the systems, like why are these people so good at this or why I want to learn that so I can add it to whatever I'm doing.
You can add that tool to your toolbox.
Exactly.
Right.
So being there, I sat there, I remember sitting there, man, I was sitting there thinking one day, I'm on the computer. It really literally takes me 4 hours to knock out everything I need to take out for the rest of the day.
Right.
I'm done.
Right.
Now I got to sit there 4 extra hours doing nothing.
Not
right?
me. I'm figuring out. Look.
Right. That's the thing. I'm sitting, and I was just sitting there one day, and I was just like, man, how do I get out of here? And my boy that was with me, Charles, that was here at the last episode. I was sitting there thinking like, man, it's 8 hours. I'm spending 8 hours building somebody else's company. They taking my energy and paying me a measly 52. What I got raised like $70,000. That's nothing though. That's nothing. In comparison to what the owner, the CEO, what they were making, right? So I'm sitting there looking at all this stuff. I was like, man, I don't want. I got to get out of here. So I devised a plan. Unlike you, I had a plan.
I had nothing.
I said it got to be a way out, and I figured a way out of there. Right. And they got, we had a mutual separation.
And you know what's so cold? You got to know the game you playing to come up with a plan.
Oh yeah,
right. If you don't realize the game that you playing, you won't realize a way to get out, right? And guess what? We all want to leave on our own terms. Right. So in my scenario, and I've said it before, on our podcast, I literally was signing bonuses for people who, maybe didn't have the education that I had. They definitely had the hustle. These are great people. And, shout out to them. But I just felt like it has to be a better way because they can clock out and go home. But as an executive, my phone is right by the bed. I'm at my kids' event. I'm putting fires out. I'm never really off.
Right.
And really, I may have had a little bit of money, but I was time poor, right?
Yeah.
So I realized like the crumb will only satisfy me for the moment. I need to position myself for the long game, right? And I'm okay with starting from the bottom and working my way up, right? So to that person that's making 20, 30, 40, cool. That's not your ending spot.
Right.
Know that you are better than that. Know that you have more collectively, like group economics, right? Cooperative economics, that's our thing. The reason why Bethel has his son here is family economics, right?
Right.
We're going to pour into our communities, but a Masonic law is service starts from within. So we have to do these things for our spouses, our children, to show them the way. And also in our community, we cannot be afraid to step out. I remember, like, the reason why I stayed so long is I was afraid that I was gonna fail. Now being older, looking back on it, that failure, because there have been many failures. I don't want.
No, you have never failed. You
No. So let me clarify that for that person that's out there that's like, because it didn't work the first time, I don't want to do it again.
That's a failure.
Yeah, we got to get out of that. We have to. Guess what? What's for you is for you, and maybe that wasn't for you, but there is something out there that is for you, and if you don't give yourself an opportunity to get to that point, you never will reach whatever goal you have set. We have to stop feeling like the crumbs will sustain us while everybody else in the world is thriving and growing because they figured out how to keep their dollars in their community. They figured out how to control the educational system. They figured out that it's cool to be in real estate. You know, what about the companies that are developing? You know, like we have to figure out how to level up. And the only way I feel that is going to be accomplished if we work together.
That's the only way.
The thing about that is I think part of the issue is that sometimes we just really don't know that we're celebrating a crumb.
Yeah,
we don't.
I believe
it goes back to the point you was making about the jobs.
Right.
So, like people, it's okay to have a job,
right?
But have a plan while you're there,
right?
Because time keeps moving on,
right?
Because think about it. Inflation is constant. It's not going down.
It ain't going nowhere.
It's not going. Even if they deflate it, it's still going to have the. It's still going to be still the same.
It's a buffer and a bubble.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like even if they deflate, it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, if you had a job and you're making the same amount of money every year, you're making I don't care. You're making $100,000 every year, right? It's getting less and less the more time you're there.
Basically,
it's getting less and less
because the dollar is not valued at the same.
It's not valued the same.
Right.
So you're there 10 years making $100,000.
Right. And that's why we keep saying like the issue is the target, right? Like that's our target of what we think it really should be going up because, like you said, to your biggest point, the value of a dollar continues to rise. So therefore, if we're still saying
the value going down.
The value keeps going down. I'm sorry.
But inflation
right. But inflation and taxes don't go down.
Right. They continue to go up, right? So the issue that we have is that the goal that when we were kids, it's like, okay, let's get to six figures. You really doing something, right?
Right.
But that goal has never changed.
Right.
And so think about it, right? Being a billionaire was like when we were kids, we didn't think that
it seemed unattainable.
It was like, okay, but millionaires that's
attainable.
It's attainable. Now, the current day billionaires was our present day millionaires when we were kids.
Yep.
Facts.
Yep.
That's where that is now.
Right.
And so if you're making 100,000, I remembered when me and my wife, we sat there and looked, and we're not living extravagant or anything of that nature. And we looked at our combined income, and we definitely were making well over $100,000 at that time. And so we looking and we like, why does it feel like?
Well, I ain't telling you what you're making now, but go ahead.
I don't. Yeah, but
less than that. Taxable income, less than that. Let's be clear for those that listen. We don't make anything.
Yeah, you're your own boss now. So
there you go.
But there's no cap on your money. There you go. It just can be whatever it is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, we sitting there like, man, why are we feeling like we don't have anything, and we're sitting in a 2-bedroom apartment, and it's not like we have all these credit card bills and all this kind of stuff. It was just that life was just like this ain't the same value.
Life is continuing to move. Yeah. Everything is still going forward.
My rent continued to go up. Right. You know, my paychecks weren't going up.
Right.
But I'm sitting here like, man, what's going on?
It actually was going down because your family was growing.
And family was growing.
More of your resources were going out the door in other areas that were not there when you both said I do. You know what I'm saying? So you're right. We have to that $100K, that $100,000 mark is not a bad mark, but it has to be the starting point.
If it's your start,
yeah.
If it's your start, that's great.
Right. So once again, to the individual that's their goal, that is great. It cannot be the ending point, because once again, how is that going to sustain your family's family?
Right.
Yeah.
That goes back to what you said in the last episode. They use the crumbs to control.
Yeah.
So $100,000 is in our world. We not listen. $100,000 is fine,
Mm-hmm.
but in our world, it's considered a crumb, right? Because
Right.
we know what money.
Yeah, 100 million is considered a
considered
crumb.
a crumb. 200 million is a crumb.
Right.
It's a
Right.
crumb
Right.
in the world that we're in.
Right.
But when you look at somebody who's making $100,000, that's a crumb to control you, to keep you there, because you get satisfied with that and say, well, I got a job that makes $100,000, so you content with that.
So guess what? So let's speak on that. So say that 100K is tied to your current position, right? Right. So how many more steps? So this is how you calculate your possible growth in a corporate environment. How many steps do I have to take on the ladder to get to the person that signs the checks? So if you're at 100K, right? The visual, you're at 100K, and it's 3 rungs to the top. How much more money are you actually going to be able to make in that structure?
Right.
I'm not talking about that person's making 100K
Exactly.
in their ground level.
At the bottom, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about you've worked, you graduated from grad school, they're making $40,000
with an MBA.
Right. From the great fam you know what I'm saying?
Lord. And here my job is I got a bachelor's.
And
you're a multi-millionaire.
I got a
And
bachelor's.
basket weaving, man. This man didn't have no real.
But it's relevant because it goes back to the last cast. We have to get out of the mindset just saying, baby, go to school.
Yeah.
Baby, go to school and get an education. No, we got to put something with that, right?
Yeah, strategy.
We have to begin with the end in mind.
Strategy.
Which is the strategy, right?
Mhm.
And the strategy is not just for you,
Right.
right? It has to be outside your circle. I'm a husband, right? If you etymologically break down the word husband, I am the band that surrounds my home, right? So I cannot just think about myself because I keep the walls erect, right?
Yeah.
Right? The responsibility of my tribe is on me, right? So we in our community, being taken away, being separated, indigenous and African, we were 100% a communal people.
But
Right.
people,
Right.
the people saw that
Right,
and had to destroy that.
right.
Because if that was to continue, imagine where we'll be today
Right.
with our generation.
Right.
Just
Right.
imagine where we would be if that was allowed to
Right.
to continue.
Right.
Right. And so we were talking earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and you was talking to me about something with Delaware.
Oh,
Delaware,
yeah. By
So
the university.
yeah. So this is something that I think more of us need to see. So we talked about it from a level of
Well, let's see. When you in the business, listen. Listen. When you in the business, no, I'm being real now.
Right.
When you in the business of money, your phone is always going off.
Right.
It's always going off.
Right.
Right. So it's always going off. But can you tell me if it's worth it or not? 'Cause you still have, but in our world though, we talked about it earlier. We still get our time with our family.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have a boss.
Right.
You know, we don't have a cap
Right.
on the money we make
Right.
or anything like that. Before you get into the Delaware story, that crumb, I had the money I made when I signed NFL. That was a crumb, bro.
Oh yeah.
In perspective.
And that's the thing.
Five-
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a crumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you about to say about my money?
I was about to say, the money that you made in the NFL is nothing compared to what y'all are making now.
Right.
It's not. But
That's
I'm
why
just saying,
it's
at the time,
Right.
at the time, it was considered
A lot.
a lot. But it was a crumb in comparison to the person that was signing my check.
Right.
It's like us kids. If you offer us $100, we think that's a lot of money.
Right.
And then I used to think that, but as I got older, I was like, nah.
That's not a lot of
You
money.
can't bribe him. You can't
Yeah.
bribe him with that, Beth.
My
No.
son, honestly, he's never really been moved by trying to incentivize him with money. He's never been moved.
Who
by
else is like that? I know.
that. I'm like that. You can't incentivize me with money.
No.
That's not what moves me.
Nah.
So it's like that with him.
Once again, money used to move me, and when I was blessed enough to get enough capital to kind of do the things the way I want to do it, I realized like I don't live for any amount. I live for freedom and experience.
Because that's really what it's
where
about.
at.
Yeah.
That's really what it's
Yeah.
about. It's
Yeah.
not even about because I had this conversation with my daughter. It's not even about how much money you make. It's really about can I give you the freedom so that you can go and explore and be the best you?
Right.
Because what happens is when you get into some of these different jobs, you end up taking them. You don't get to be the best form of you.
Absolutely.
You take them because the obligations
weigh you down.
She was speaking about, like, in our community, right? Our community versus another community sending their children to school. Historically, we are getting loans to go better ourselves in a traditional or maybe even a non-traditional educational environment. We are going there with the knowledge that as soon as we get out, the clock starts.
Yeah.
Right.
In other communities, right, the clock doesn't start until they decide it starts. They have a family home, a family bank, right? They have assets to pull. I never forget the presidential election, and one of the candidates was asked how much is a gallon of milk. They didn't know, right? or a statement is made, just go get a loan from your dad.
Yeah, I remember that.
Some of us don't have that experience or even have that individual around to even ask that, right?
Yeah.
So I just think that we have to recognize what the crumb is and recognize how valuable we are. Because if everybody that looks like you and me pulls away from the environment that it's in, it won't be able to survive, right?
Right.
There's not many things that you can put your hands on that we have not had some type of dealing, in its success or maybe even in its conception, right?
Mm-hmm.
The crumbs, right? It's not even about the dollar, guys. It's about you realizing that you are not a crumb.
Right.
You are not a commodity that can be bought and sold, right?
Right. So with that being said, I want to get into the story of what it doesn't look like in a move that I saw that happened that I feel like it should have went viral.
This is what you're talking about. This is an example of what a crumb isn't.
Right. What a crumb isn't. Right. Like this is a move that I feel like more of these institutions should be making. Right. Big shout out to the HBCU, Delaware State University.
Right. They had a teammate. They went to.
Yeah, well, they were part of the MEAC. We were in the same conference, so they used to be a conference rival for.
Yeah, he was a wide receiver
for the Florida A&M University.
Jamin Elliott. He was a wide receiver.
Yeah. So Delaware State University just recently they purchased Wesley College,
right?
Which is a predominantly white institution.
Yeah.
And that is a move. It was the first HBCU to purchase a predominantly white institution. And Wesley College is a university that's been around for almost 160 years, right? And so
I wish we had the applause noise to applaud that, because that is huge.
Yes, big ups to them, because now that what they're doing, they're growing out their resources by making some different acquisitions. Yeah. If our entities realize some other things that they can do, because I know how the game works. As a university that's controlled by the state, their funding comes strictly from the state.
Right.
And so if you decide, you know what, instead of just waiting on the state just to be able to fund me, let me find a way. The shout out to the president of the university. Who said that his name's Tony Allen. He was he's looking to grow the university to be about 10,000 students. And so instead of just waiting and trying to market your way to 10,000 students,
he just went and bought one.
He went and make an acquisition.
Yeah.
Don't we talk about acquisition?
Right.
We do talk about acquisition.
Right. So
the quickest way to level up, right?
Quickest way to level up.
And that is, if he buying Wesley College ensures that he got cash flow coming anyway to the school, because those students are already paying tuition.
There's already cash flow. Then, especially in the time that we're in right now today, there's so many different things that our universities need to be looking at doing as far as acquiring different things, different assets and resources that will allow them to level up without having to wait for a state or wait, because quite frankly, we also know that the alumni with our universities, we struggle in that area, but that's also traditionally because not that we don't give or don't want to give. It's just that our pool is not fully there yet, so which
is why we're working on a couple of things to kind of bridge the gap.
Yeah. So we definitely have a desire to bridge that gap, but I think that we need to see more of our schools and universities make these kind of moves. And I wish this had went viral when it happened.
It didn't go viral for a reason.
Yeah, but it didn't go viral. So, but that's something of what it doesn't look like. There's still some things as far as what it does look like that I think that we need to touch on.
Yeah, we can touch on those
because my time of working with the city of Dallas, I had the chance to work in it, and I loved my time working there. But I was working for the community.
Right.
And one of the things I got to see while working for the community is that every other person had a nonprofit organization. Have y'all run into that?
I have.
I have. Just about everybody I know got a nonprofit.
Right. Got a nonprofit, right?
Everybody. Like, it's just a thing. Everybody got a nonprofit.
Man, let me break this down for y'all. All right.
This is really
this is for your nonprofiters.
This is really important.
I got to break this down, right?
That's a word.
So, first of all, understanding the 501(c) structure and what it was meant for, it was not meant when it was originally created to do your true philanthropic feel good things.
Exactly.
What was it originally made for?
Tax shelter. Man.
Tax shelter, right? So let's get on that part first, right? But then let's look at if we are utilizing it as a tax shelter, are we utilizing the correct nonprofit form?
Right, because it's one of the most heavily regulated.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
It is. But it's heavily regulated when you're doing your traditional 501(c). But the one that we don't hear about our folks having is what? A private
family foundation.
Right.
They don't have a private family foundation.
Which also has a 501(c)(3) designation.
Designation to it.
Right.
But they don't have it. So the rules are different between both.
But that again, it goes back to what we talked about on the last episode. Are we playing chess with checker rules?
Right.
Same board.
Which goes back to what I said. You have to recognize the rules.
Yeah.
Recognize them. Recognize them.
So you can make better decisions when you know the rules, right?
Right.
You can come up with a strategy, right?
Because you know the rules are going to be your buffer, your guardrail.
You know how to operate
exactly
within the confines of that institutional organization, right? To benefit yourself for the long.
Right.
So
get to the rules.
So what happens in this scenario now is that the private foundations actually end up funding the 501(c)(3)s,
right?
Because the private foundations they have to, right?
Right.
But their have to is much different than your traditional 501(c).
Yeah. No, you saying it backwards.
Huh?
You just said 501.
No.
3C.
What'd I say?
501(c)(3).
Okay. Well, there we
501
go. C3.
Yes.
There we go. My bad. Hey, listen.
I tried to get the gang sign.
Oh my goodness.
It didn't work.
Thank you.
I was trying every time.
So at the end of the day, when you're at that level with your nonprofit, you have to go out and get your funding, right? And so part of the funding is you apply for different grants and things of that nature. But if you're applying to a private grant, it's coming from a private foundation who has an endowment that is growing, and they only have to let out 5% of the new money that comes into the organization.
And that's clear to distinguish.
Right.
It's the new
money.
Right.
Not old money.
Not the money that's growing
not the money
in there.
that's already sitting there.
Right.
So plus that 5% that comes out, first of all, they're going to use part of that 5% to run the expenses of their organization.
Right.
And then they'll let out a certain amount of money
it'll be a waterfall.
Right. And so at that point, they use it as a controlling tool to say, hey, look, I'll give you $100,000 over here. You need to apply and meet my standards.
Look here, the control.
Yeah.
Right.
Own nothing. Control everything.
All right.
Right.
That's all it is.
You got to meet my standards over here. So I'm gonna give you 100, or I might give you 200. If we get $500K from one of these groups,
right?
Oh, we crumb. That's the crumb we celebrate.
Oh
right
my
there.
goodness!
You have more power with control than ownership.
What?
Excuse my young boss cigar smoke.
Exactly. So at that point in time, we're sitting here fighting over. And now listen, we have a lot of community organizations that are out here that are doing work that is much needed work.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
And so we're not talking against the work that is needed to be done.
No.
We're just talking
about the lifeblood.
We're talking about the bloodline of how all of this stuff is working and how we're fighting against each other. And then what happens in these nonprofit scenario, I know how it is here in Dallas. It's hard to get these folks to work together to do something.
Right.
Because if they work together and then they try to command something bigger
Right.
and they're not fighting over the same daggum control, because it's a couple families that run the entire thing that's giving out a little bit of the money.
So let me ask you this. Why is it that you think people are following that structure of the regular traditional 501c3?
Because that's all they know.
Yes,
Right. So the noise we talk about all the time.
Right.
Of course.
Where the smoke is, that's not where the game is
That's
being
not where
played.
it's being
Right.
played.
It's not.
It's not where it's
The
being
noise
played.
telling you to get you a non. I mean, people used to get you a nonprofit.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, you're an athlete. Go get you a nonprofit.
Exactly. Instead of
Don't get a private foundation, but go get you a nonprofit.
Nobody's speaking of, nobody's sitting around these athletes. Hey, get your private family foundation, bro.
Right.
Get your private
'Cause
family
let me show you
foundation.
how that
Let me show
really
you how it
works.
works. But they got agents and financial people who have no idea how these things actually work.
Right. When Mark Zuckerberg, when things went public, what did he do with his shares and stuff? What did he do?
He took it from one pocket and put it in the other pocket.
Right.
Yeah, he donated
99%.
He donated all his money to a private foundation,
Which was his.
his own.
He moved it from his left pocket to the right pocket. That's
Yeah.
all he did.
Right.
Still under all that stuff is still under his control.
Under his control.
Still under his control.
And it's an amazing who sits on these different boards for these different foundations, right?
Man, you'll be amazed.
Be amazed.
amazed.
Plus, there are different organizations that exist to help these philanthropic
navigate.
works to navigate what they do, and so I know that stuff, that work sits out there. So they come together
Right.
to figure out as a philanthropic community.
They come together.
They come together and decide who and
Right.
what they're going to put.
So
money
really,
towards.
they're controlling it, right?
They're controlling it.
They control.
Okay.
It's under the.
Okay.
My son just said it, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
The power was in the control.
Yeah, I just want people out, outside this room to really get what you said, because no one's knocking having a nonprofit, right?
No, we're not doing that.
A lot of people have gotten in trouble because they were not structurally sound within their nonprofit. Because
Right.
people say go get a nonprofit, but they didn't tell you how to set it up structurally, right?
Right.
Right.
And so when it's time to submit your information, it's a lot of questions, right? So how do we transition from, I got a nonprofit, to how do I get a private family?
So what I would tell folks, again, homework. You got to go out and do your homework, right? There's a lot of information. Go to University of YouTube and type in private foundation. There's a lot of information about it,
Right.
and start learning about those
Before
things.
YouTube start filtering that information,
Yeah.
you better go there.
You better.
Go to YouTube
YouTube U
and
they got some.
type it in.
They got some stuff in there, and I may go ahead and put one link to one video up in there that I know about to get. I don't know. I'll let my
put it down in the link in the description below.
description, and we'll see what happens to get some people to it's just informational for you to figure out what it is.
Yeah.
Right. But at the end of the day, we're not talking like my brother Chris said. We're not talking down to having a nonprofit. Yeah.
No,
Thank
no.
you. Boy, I feel like I done played football for a little bit, but
You did. So I'm just saying, you did.
just as not as long as you.
I'm just saying, you did though.
But we need to make sure that we understand the rules of the game, because that's what it all boils down to.
Right.
Understanding the rules.
Can't be playing chess with checker rules.
That's it.
You just can't.
And guess what?
Same board,
Same rules.
different rules.
Come on,
Different rules.
come on.
Different rules.
Same
And guess
rules,
what?
different rules.
Once we start getting, enlightened, we cannot be afraid of the information. Because one thing I've seen, and definitely what we do, we can speak to this. In our community, when we sit down, right, and we're in these meetings, and we're going over these things that we recognize may be foreign, the spirit in the room a lot of time is, because I don't know about it, it can't be real.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because I wasn't exposed to it, it can't be real.
Which
Right.
is, to me, detrimental to your growth.
Speak on it.
That's detrimental to your growth. If you hadn't had experience with something, and just because you hadn't been exposed to it does not mean that it doesn't exist or it's not real.
Right.
And we found that mostly amongst our people
Right.
when we have these conversations and meetings.
Right.
Because we are at a level in which not a lot of us are on that level to see what
Right.
we get to see.
Right.
Or not playing the game. They're not on that level in the game, right? And so when we talk, like you said, we sit in meetings, talk to our people because of the information we know, and it's coming from us.
Right.
It's like, nah, I don't know, I can't believe that.
Right.
But this is the reality of it. Like we got direct view into this stuff, and we're telling you what it is, but you suffer because your experience with it isn't, you lack the experience with it. So you suffer in the end, and you learn the lesson the hard way. What you always say your pops told you about the lesson?
A well-bought lesson is a well-taught lesson.
And that's exactly what's going to happen. Because one thing I know about business, in the minute you start cutting corners in the business, that cost is going to get you one way or the other. You're going to pay the cost. If you cut corners in the beginning, it's going to get you on the back end. You're going to get, that cost is going to get paid one way or the other. When we sit with people, that lesson that we're trying to give you, and you say, well, nah, man, that bumps up against your experience with it, and now it's banging, it's bumping up into each other. Then now you sitting there, you go buy that lesson one way or the other. You go get it. You go get it, but it's gonna cost you more now on the back end.
I mean, let's be transparent. I know there's been some opportunities that I've said no to, that I felt like I should have said yes to, because I didn't believe what was actually being revealed to me. Not shown, revealed. There's a difference, right?
Yes.
So once it was revealed to me that A, B, C is not ABC, I could do one or two things. I could go learn. I can go reinforce that another way, or I can accept it for what it is and grow. And we have to be willing in our community to grow. We have to be willing to say, you know what? Mama may not have done it. Daddy might not have done it. Sister, brother, cousin may not have, but I'm going to do it. And when we do that, we have to be willing to share this information, right?
Because there's more than enough.
Oh yeah.
This is what I want. Look, I wish we can zoom. Listen, there is more than enough money circulating around this globe, for everybody.
Everybody.
I'm not telling you what I heard. This ain't what I heard. This ain't hearsay for me.
Right.
This is what I know for a fact to be true.
Right.
There's more than enough. So there, like you said in the last episode, it makes no sense for one person to hoard everything. It makes zero sense.
Right. So I got a saying based off of that. When I tell people to have a paradigm shift in some of our meetings, because one of our mistakes is we want to have 100% of a grape
all day long
versus having a slice of a watermelon.
Right.
And a couple episodes prior, we talked about that.
We talked about that, right? So having 100% of a grape, that's celebrating the crumb.
Absolutely.
And so because we want to have all the ownership of this one grape and do nothing else, we missing out on being able to have more, and that's the collective that you're talking about,
right?
In that scenario.
But is that comfort too? Where people are comfortable with what they know, right? People are comfortable, with their experience.
See, I think it's ideology. It's a taught behavior.
Right.
We've been conditioned to say, you know what? I have to do it this way because that's the only way I'm going to get over there.
That's the only way I know. When I'm conditioned,
I'm not saying only route, because there's multiple routes. I'm saying whatever it is, it's over there, and I have to go through that door to get it.
Right.
You said something earlier that struck me. When you said that when you were sitting there, signing these folks bonuses,
their bonus, yeah,
you could have been content and comfortable, just saying, you know what? I'm a bank exec. I'm an exec
because I'm making more than them.
I'm making more, right?
But I looked at the analytics,
right,
and the analytics did not add up for me,
right. So most people that would be in your position would be comfortable in that position,
right?
And you decided, I want to grow. I can't continue this because there's more than this out there, right? I got to be more.
And you know what's so cool about that? I'm gonna be transparent. I didn't ask for permission.
You don't have to,
even in my household. And because when the instructions were given to Adam, Eve wasn't even created.
No.
So what that tells me is there's gonna be some things that I got to go out and get on my own.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? As the head of my house. So we have to get out of this fear thing. Fear is here to control you, right?
Man, I'm gonna help y'all overcome that. It's a book called Outwitting the Devil.
Give it to him.
By Napoleon Hill.
Right.
Get it.
Go get that. Read that.
Listen, it talks about fear and where it's produced and where it comes from. This stuff was put into us by people
to control us.
Guess
what? Go research gun line, right?
Tell me about the gun line, boss.
No, gun line. Like we said, we gonna start giving out homework because I just don't want you. we are 100% genuine in what we're trying to give you guys, right?
Right.
That's why it's for free.
This is selfish. this is not to benefit us financially. This is 100% about our community, right? Go research what a gun line is, right? It's there are mental prisons that we are put in by our condition, and thinking that you are only you can only get a crumb is a mental prison, right?
Absolutely.
Feeling like you will never get what they are getting because you don't deserve it. When in reality, we have all we need.
Bro, I was sitting with somebody the other day, bro. I'm not going to even tell you who it is. I'm
going to try and guess.
No, you're not. And I was sitting with him, and we have to break this mentality, bro, because I don't think I've ever been limited in my mind. Right. If I see something that a human has done, I feel like it's humanly possible for me to do now. Right. I don't care what it is.
Right.
And so I was sitting with somebody, and I showed them a vehicle, right? And the price came up. They was like, "Oh, no." I said, "Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do it.
Don't limit yourself, because I understand how you can command the universe and make it work for you."
Right.
So it's
Words
like,
are powerful.
I'm telling you, they're powerful. So if you're speaking these things over your life and saying, "No, I can't," you just limit yourself to that thought and say, "Well, I can only go this high."
Right.
Because you're looking at your conditions right now, but you never know what unfolds down the road.
Listen, won't he do it?
You know what I'm saying? Think about where we come from and the things that we're doing now, bro.
Most definitely.
Like, if we'd have said, "No, I only want to go this far. This is all I see." No, man. Once you peek over that wall, be like, "Wait a minute, it's a whole world out here."
Man,
I want to get over there.
Right.
I'm not going to be behind this wall here and stay limited here. I want to see what's out there. If we continue to do that as a people, man, we're going to stay right where we are. But if you start thinking like, man, it's humanly possible because a human has done it.
Right.
So it's possible.
Yeah.
Why not us?
Why not us?
That's my thing, right? Why not us?
Yeah.
Look, man. That was powerful. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't take that opportunity away from yourself because you are valuing an amount that really is not anything.
It's not.
Because what you have access to is so much more.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why we're okay with the crumbs, because we don't even know what we have access to.
We don't know.
I tell the car, I showed him though.
Was it?
It wasn't that one. I'm keeping that one to
okay.
I think I know what it is.
No, it was the Lamborghini Youre.
Oh yeah, we already had
Yours.
The Mansory edition. Now I got it's the man. I showed him. I was the one that I like.
You need to put that car up on the walls again.
But no, I showed him that car, and they were just
you
like,
got it? You seen it?
No, I don't know. I'm like, don't ever limit yourself to think that way, because you never know what's down the road. Because I'm telling you, I'm a living witness, test. Like, listen, I've never limited myself in my thought. If I saw somebody doing it, I felt like, I can do that.
Yeah, it's definitely attainable.
So there's another way that we end up limiting ourselves and don't even know that we limit ourselves, right? So I think there's other ways from a business. Y'all know me. I like to get into the strategy of things, right? So from a business strategy standpoint, hey, listen,
MBA grad school strategy.
Not everybody's able. Right? Not everybody's able.
For sure.
You're right.
Yeah. Facts.
Right. So one of the strategies that I look at, it's kind of synonymous. And I got a guy that I got this from that I considered a mentor, even though I never met him, because I listen and read to all his stuff. His name is Vusi Timbakweo.
Oh, yeah. Give it to him. That's our guy, for sure.
Oh, that's
supply
my dude,
chain.
right?
Let's get it.
So Vusi talks about the value chain inside of the supply chain, right? And so one of the mistakes that we do as business owners is we try to compete on price all the time.
And that is the absolute wrong strategy.
It's the worst strategy to do.
Yes.
We have, we like, okay, I'm going to start my business and I'm going to do something. And I'm going to give it for a good price.
Right.
Celebrating the crumbs.
We was on the phone with somebody that said the same thing.
So they trying to do the same thing. Now, I'm going to break it down why that is the worst strategy to have coming out the gate for a business, right?
You devalue the industry.
You devalue. So there's well, not even just that. So there's a couple things. One, if Bethel has a barbecue shop over here, which I know he would have, And then if
it'll be 100% plant based.
Right.
And Harris, you got Harris barbecue, and you got Johnson's barbecue over here.
Right.
And both things taste the same. They at the same level, but the only difference is what? The price?
Yep.
Then what's going to happen is the person that has more capital in their coffers, if Bethel decides that, hey, I'm going to lower the price because I got enough money in reserves to squeeze you out.
Listen.
Then I can do that to you.
Squeeze,
I can
squeeze you out and then acquire you.
And then acquire you for pennies on the dollar. And then I done grew and then brought my prices right back on up.
Right.
So that becomes one of the worst reasons why we can do it. But let's take it even further. Okay. It's not just having the capital in reserves. It's because we don't even control enough of our own supply chain. On it, right? So when we're starting a business, if we're at the retail level of doing this, of supplying the product in good to the user,
right?
If we're at the very end of the supply chain and we're doing the retail level, that means we have made the least amount of money on the actual raw good that it took to make to that product, right?
Yep.
And so all the things, all the glitz and glam type of businesses that we're starting things that we could get on Instagram and take pictures on for the gram and all that kind of stuff. That's the crumb, right?
That's the crumb.
So we doing all this kind of stuff trying to get there. But the problem is that if I don't own more of my supply chain, I'm now not making enough money of the bottom line, right? So you have the raw good, then you have the manufacturer, and then you have the wholesaler, and then you have the retailer.
Right.
And if you don't own all the way down, see what happens is because we don't own so much of our supply chain, we end up getting squeezed out
every time.
We only own the retail end.
We're only on the retail end
every time,
and so that becomes a problem because we don't have control of the whole supply chain. And so what happens to our business is we have to settle for trying to make money off of the crumbs, which is the very end of it,
right?
And we're doing ourselves a even huge disservice by cutting the price even more.
Absolutely.
So that becomes a scenario to where we're celebrating the crumbs and don't even know it. And the other part of it is, I remember we went to an event, right? And this is about supply chain,
right? Definitely.
We went to an event, and these folks they didn't know who they were coming to initially when they started picking our brain. They were trying to recruit us to come, doing what they were doing.
Right.
I ain't gonna tell y'all who they are.
Right. So we were paying attention, seeing what's going on, and then we asked the question. I said, so who owns the platform? I see y'all up in here, y'all doing y'all
doing
thing.
All this. I'm looking at the hoopla. Who owns this?
Who owns the platform? Right. And so, because listen, what they were doing is great stuff to get.
It was great
to get people going, all that stuff. But then when I started asking, okay, who owns the platform? Then they started showing me who actually owned the platform. It was a bunch of us in there, but who actually owned the platform didn't look like us
at all.
Now listen,
he was making a lot of money.
I'm not going to speak about the meeting we just had, but that sounds very familiar in the meeting we had about getting our community to buy into a card, right? You know what I'm saying, right? Or a service, right? We have to get out of pimping our culture.
We do,
man.
Our culture is for sale, right?
At all times.
You listen. It's okay to be a part until it's time to be a part. I have a saying in business: everybody wants to be a boss until it's time to pay the invoice.
Right. Yeah,
right. Because now it's going to cost you. That title is going to cost you something.
Right.
Knowing where the crumbs are, right, gives you a different perspective. You just spoke on
it. Have y'all ever heard of the company Sassel?
Yes.
What does Sassel do?
I haven't heard of Sassel.
You haven't heard of Sassel?
Break it down.
Sassel is one of the biggest companies on the globe, and actually they're based out of South Africa.
My bad, Sassel.
No.
Sassel, because you in South Africa, I wasn't privy to.
But let me
guess what? You heard of them, you just didn't know.
You just didn't know it. Guess what?
They must got a bunch of products somewhere that I know of. Okay.
Listen, when it comes to Sassel and the things that they got going on, do you use petroleum jelly?
I don't.
No.
Well, we know you don't because it's pig. But yeah, it's a pig.
I don't.
It's a pig product, but you know.
Okay. Well, do you know folks that may use bleach?
I use bleach.
Okay, well, some of the products that's inside of bleach comes from Sassel.
So they a real octopus. They got in everything.
Oh, listen.
When it comes to our women's hair and some of the plastics that goes to create some of our women's hair, guess what? One of the ingredients comes from Sassel. When we talk about let's see,
like the Yummy brand.
Oh my God, they just like the Yummy brand.
Yeah.
But guess what? Sassel don't have an Instagram page.
Oh no.
They don't have a Facebook.
No,
They don't need.
When's
to.
the last time you seen a commercial for Sassel?
That's why I didn't know about them.
You don't know about them because they don't run. They don't need to run an ad for them.
Yeah, it's no smoke there.
But
No smoke.
There's no smoke. But guess what? They are one of the largest entities in the world, and because of what they do, right?
Man, man. That just reminded me when you said that. That just hit me like it was a song back in the day that your boy James Brown. It's called "Talking Loud, Saying Nothing."
Oh,
saying nothing.
Yeah.
Talking loud.
But
saying
this is
nothing.
like talking loud while saying nothing.
Right.
saying nothing. They ain't got to.
While saying nothing.
Saying nothing.
Quiet money.
Just quietly making their stuff.
Quietly making all kinds of
My
money.
coach told me something in college that set me straight going forward, like my junior year. Because I talk noise, right? I talk noise. So that's what I do.
Yes.
He told me, he said, Bethel, he said, let your actions speak so loudly that I can't hear what you're saying.
Golly.
That's the truth.
When he said that to me, I said, I got it. I know exactly what you're talking about. Right. So I ain't saying nothing else and just went out there and showed you who I am and what I can do. I ain't gonna tell you about it. But that's the thing, like in business, we like to show people what we're doing, right? But I don't even want you to know what I'm doing, period.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't like if you go to my Instagram, I don't post nothing like that.
Right.
I don't want you to know because my stuff is private anyway.
Right.
But I keep it private because everybody don't need to know what you're doing.
No.
I don't need everybody watching.
No, I got a little saying I say now, man. I don't need everybody to know who I am. I just need the right people to know who I am.
Right. And those people don't have Instagram. No. They don't have social media like that. I can promise you.
Not like that. Not like that.
Anybody we done deals with, how many of them really got Instagram?
Only
one.
Yeah,
Only one deal that I know of that we
only one deal had it, and he was using it to push out his product.
I was just gonna say
that's it.
Only because that was an industry standard.
Yeah, that's an industry.
So that makes sense. That makes sense. But I'm just saying, like for us, we God, it's so much to unpack. We have to do a part 3 of this, bro. It's so much
right there.
It's so much.
It's so much to unpack when it comes to celebrating the crumbs. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing that we have to do is just get out of this habit of thinking of the less. We have to really see more,
and have a limitless mentality.
Right. And here's the thing for me, and I'm this is what I push to my kids. If my dream is not bigger than my lifespan, then my dream is too small.
Way too small.
Right.
Way too small.
It's way too small. Right. If what I'm building is something that can't be brought on to be built more for generations behind me,
right,
I'm not working on the right thing.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's one of the things that I feel like when it comes to shifting your paradigm, so you're not having to sit there and work on crumbs, right? You got to say, okay, what am I really working on right now today? What am I working towards? Is it that big enough that where it's bigger than me? Because nothing, well, to get a little spiritual with it, there's nothing that God has ever commanded anybody to do that wasn't bigger than them. Everything that when God commanded somebody else to do something, it was always bigger than them. And so we have to look and analyze on ourselves and see, okay, what am I really working on?
What am I doing that's bigger than me?
What's bigger than you?
And let's be clear. Bigger than your household.
Right.
Yeah.
It has to be about the greater good. That's what it is. It's got to be about the greater good, because that in and of itself will keep you selfless, right? It ain't about you, right? Because for us, think about it. If we don't cooperate with one another, like us, we are an example of real life prime example of what cooperative economics look like. Right. Like I said, each one of our net worth has increased tremendously upon cooperating with one another, bringing our businesses together, setting our egos aside.
Listen, when you said that, I went home. And you know, while I sketched the designs for everything we got going on, I put that down there, bro, and I put B-Dot, and I put a key by it. Because those are key things that have been said that I hold true to. Like, look, you have to put your pride aside.
Right.
When you are alpha lion, right? you are used to being in a position of power, right? Then you have to reevaluate what power is.
Right.
Right. Power is not only our household, our extended family's households, our entire community being in a position where we no longer need to jump through the hoops.
Right.
Right.
Everything we do going forward is a choice.
That's
what a power is.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
I know we got to get out of here, man.
Man, we got to get out of here, man.
We got to do another. We got to do one.
We got to keep
one
the
more,
conversation.
man.
Yeah.
Keep the conversation
Because we
going.
get deep into a lot of this stuff.
Before we go,
I was gonna say before we go, man, you got to give them. You got to give them something.
I'm give you a little homework.
I don't have the one that we looked at. I got another one.
You got another one?
Is it on that?
Give you a little homework.
I'm
right?
just saying, just give them something to.
You got one of the ones we talked about at first.
Give them. So what I want us to leave people with, and I'm glad we do it towards the end, is give them a couple of strategies as it relates to reversing the mentality of celebrating the crumbs.
That's good.
Well, first you got to recognize just where are you at right now, right? So you got to take inventory for where you are at right now, and you don't need to focus on what you don't have. You need to focus on what you do have. And then the question becomes, okay, if I want to attain this, what do I need to get it? Okay, I see the inventory of where I'm at. What do I need to go get to be able to go get that?
Right.
Right? Because a lot of times we end up focusing and saying, okay, I don't have this, so can't. It stops there. I can't go get it. When the moment you start opening up your mind and say, what do I need to do to go and get that? Things open up, and I'm a living testimony of that one, because years ago, you and we said, hey, we want to go start this.
Yeah.
And it didn't show up in the form, and this is the next strategy of it all. The end goal can remain to being the end goal, but sometimes the means on how you get there, you have to be flexible.
That was my point.
You have to be flexible with that.
Yeah.
Because it ain't gonna always look like
It's not gonna always
imagine it to look like.
Right.
But the end could. But the route won't be.
The route won't be. If I was not willing to accept the route that you came up to me about and say, hey, man, I got something now. And because I know who you were, I was like, and I didn't see nothing yet.
That boy hadn't seen nothing.
Yeah, I haven't seen nothing yet.
I just told him.
You just told me, but I knew you. So at that point, it was just like, okay, I need to jump on board onto this opportunity.
Yeah.
So the next thing is being able to be flexible, to make pivots.
Yes.
You have to
being
make,
willing
to make
fluid enough. Right.
So evaluate your inventory of where you are.
Yep.
And willing to be flexible in your route to your end goal.
Right. Exactly.
Those are the two things I would say to help reverse.
The last thing is take off the limit.
Be limitless.
Take off the limit. The more we have limits on ourselves, like I remember when we were first trying to talk about like at the time we were like, okay, this is going to be a large deal. And I'm not going to tell the numbers because I don't want people computing stuff on me. But there was a deal. Well, I'll put it like this.
Oh, hold on. Wait, what you doing?
No.
Which deal?
I ain't going to talk about none of our deals.
Okay.
I'll put it like this. I remember watching Breakfast Club.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. This is a good one.
Yeah. I saw Breakfast Club, and Byron Allen was on there.
Right.
And Byron told Charlemagne and all them, he said, really, $300 million is not a lot of money.
It is not
a
lot.
They fell out. Now, me prior to, I'm just like, prior to getting into what I'm getting into, I would normally be like, hold up, Byron, what you?
300 million? You know what I can do with 300 million?
What you
blow
talking
it.
about? What you talking about?
They got no education. Blow it. That's what's gonna happen.
But the moment you take the limits off and you're willing to be exposed to what really is going on out there, where the game is really being played at. The reason why we are only at crumbs is because we're not playing the game where the game is being played at.
Right.
You know, we are not playing. There's certain companies that are not giving funding to your business because you are saying, okay, I just want to raise $300,000, or I just want to raise $50,000,
or I'm just a small business.
I'm just a small business.
You're walking in the door saying, I'm just
right. So you put the cap on.
The cap on.
Right.
Once you put the cap on, that's where you're going to be locked into.
Right. You're going to be locked into it. So when you change your mind and say, you know what, my raise is going to be $100 million. That might be my next raise. I might try to go after now.
Right.
No, don't say try. Don't say try. Listen.
You're right. There's no such thing as trying. It's only doing and not doing.
That's it. What I tell my kids, hey, We try on shoes and clothes. We do everything else.
We do everything else.
We do everything.
Do everything else.
That's the Coach Flyism. I got
Yes,
that's the Coach Fly.
Yes, sir.
But you try on shoes and clothes, but you just do everything else. There's no such thing as I'm trying. You either doing it or you're not doing it.
Facts.
Right.
Facts.
So those are, to me, those are the three things. You got to take the cap off, because when you take that cap off, you got to realize when it comes to, because we know that.
Hold on, before you finish. When you take the cap off, now you can be poured in too.
You can be, Lord have mercy.
Come on
You can be
now.
poured in too.
Come
Lord
on,
have
now.
mercy.
That-
You know what I'm saying?
that's
You
the
can't
old
be
Belt
poured
done
into.
slid out.
Oh.
Old Belt done slid out.
It's still up in there.
No,
Lord have mercy.
you can be poured into it. That
Facts.
Yes,
try
facts.
it.
You
Go home,
can
put
try
a
it.
lid on the
Facts.
cup, and try to pour something into it. Watch what happens.
See what happens.
Hey, guess what? Go home and try with your significant other.
Just go ahead.
Yeah.
But when you take that cap off,
Take off.
now you become limitless in thought.
Right.
Now you can be poured into.
And guess what? When that happens, now you are truly ready to work with someone.
Absolutely.
Right. Now you can really elevate.
Right. Because
Right.
I don't work with nobody with limits.
Right.
I
Exactly.
don't.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't.
Exactly.
And I recognize the limited speech.
Right.
So we got to do what? First thing is what?
We gotta
Evaluate.
evaluate where we at.
Right.
Mhm.
Then we need to be able to pivot.
Be flexible.
Be flexible
Mhm.
and pivot. And then third, take the cap off.
Take the cap
because
off.
because where funding is at deals at above $100 million.
Right.
Easy funding. Above
Easy
100
funding
million.
over $100 million, right? That's where the game is being played at.
Yep. Byron
So-
Allen was
It's
not
actually
lying.
where it starts.
Yeah, that's the beginning.
Truly where it's that's the
beginning.
what's crazy, that is the floor.
Yeah.
That's the
The
floor.
floor
of it
is
all.
100 million.
So
It's the
if we're not willing to create things that are actually playing there, the reason why we having a strong problem with access to funding is because we're not playing the game.
Not
where
just
it's
create. We got to be willing to partner.
We be able to partner
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we can
yeah.
put a deal together.
cooperation.
Yeah.
We talk
Right.
about this all the time. The spirit of group economics is just cooperation.
Right. Right.
I ain't gotta like you, but I'll cooperate with you
Right.
for the greater good.
Right. So at the end of the day, those three things, y'all, make sure that you do your homework.
I need you to give him the $1 bill on the
Yeah.
way out.
Yeah.
Give him that $1 bill.
Oh, the dollar bill
Yeah,
tomorrow.
give him that $1 bill on the way out,
Yeah, I
man.
mean, hey, if you and to know that sometimes things are sitting right in front of your face and you just don't know it.
Right.
Go read your dollar bill. Take a $1 bill out
Right.
and read what's in that front left corner, and just let's see what we find out in
I
the
got
comments.
a 50. I need to see what's on
Yeah.
that thing.
Yeah.
I've been having this 50 for a long
Yeah,
time.
that's your.
Oh,
your-
okay.
not the
Oh,
lucky
okay.
50.
This is a lucky 50. I found this 50 in the street.
That's the that's the
Been
one.
keeping. I found that in the street. Been keeping it.
Yeah,
It ain't worth $50 now.
it's on the 50 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's written there.
Yeah.
It's
Right
written down there.
down the bottom, right?
But
Yeah,
just
yeah.
read it. Start reading these things. That's on your money, right? And tell me what you see and find out. Love to have a comment about it.
Yeah, drop it in the comments.
Drop it in the comments.
Yeah,
and we'll
put
see.
it in there. Drop it in the comments, and we can explain what that really means.
Yeah.
Right.
But fellas, as always, I appreciate y'all transparency. I appreciate the conversation. We got to keep the conversation going and flowing.
Yeah, man.
Folks, please make sure that you follow, like, subscribe, all the above.
Hit the
On
notification, do all of that.
All of that. On the Money GSP is where we're at.
Right.
You can find us there, and we would love to make sure that we're communicating with you all. We're getting great feedback from y'all, but please let us know what's some more things that you want to hear about, talk about, because just 1 hour of time going over this stuff is not enough time for us to go through every single thing.
Right.
So we want to continue to pour into you all, but continue to get at us. So that's what it is with us. We On the Money Podcast. We appreciate it.
Shout out to the young king over there.
Shout out
Man.
to you, little BJ3.
Great job today, Little
Yeah,
Bethel.
man.
Yes, sir.
Great
buddy.
job today.
Yeah.
All right, Oscar.
We call him Oscar.
Spider.
Lord have mercy. All the slip up. Spider, appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Peace.
Motor B.